Well, if it ain't your boy, Fan2 back at it again. Thank you guys for letting me back on my YouTube channel, because you guys have to let me. See, I'm at a crossroads right now. See, get it? Because I was literally just sitting down, I was like, okay, all right, we're going to react to Parrot, the second video of the Unstable SMP, right? And then I see in my little YouTube inbox a new video posted 12 hours ago by RetroGaming, which we all know and love. That was posted saying solving a Wifies ARG that doesn't exist. And I thought this title seems a bit interesting. So now I'm at a crossroads. I don't know actually what video to react to. We're going to react to both, obviously, but like which one to do first. So I've decided that this one is going to be solving a Wifies ARG that doesn't exist. The next video we're going to react to is the Parrot video, okay? So don't worry, it's coming, all right? But we're going to react to this first. Now, this information is only going to go is only going to be valid to the first people that watch this like within half an hour of when this episode is, or when this video is going out. At 20:30 GMT plus 1, I guess it is, something like that. Basically, after 30 minutes of releasing this video, I will then do a live. For the people that I've seen before on my YouTube channel and have seen my lives before, there's this specific Minecraft server who's a bit cursed. There's something mysterious going on it, and we could never really find out what the hell was happening. Well, that was a few months ago, and we're gonna go back to it. We're gonna revisit it and see what it's gonna be, what's happened to it, if there's still some mysterious shit happening, or what's going on. Basically, that's what we're gonna do later tonight, or a bit after this video is posted. But yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into this. I always love retro gaming. It's always so interesting.
On March 23rd, 2026, there's a discovery of something that has never quite happened before in the history of Minecraft.
Okay.
It all begins with a link to a very intriguing website. The design itself is fairly simple: a black and white door in the background and a text box with instructions to enter key. Below it is a sequence of strange floating symbols, accompanied by text that simply says, "Good luck."
Well, we know that door.
Minecraft player, these characters should be familiar.
We know that door.
They're from the Enchanting Table language, officially known as the Standard Galactic Alphabet. This is a substitution cipher, which means that we can look up each symbol on a key and swap it out for the plain text. Several characters have a line underneath them. This represents capitalization. Additionally, there are a couple of numbers. These are undefined in the alphabet, so we can leave them as is.
Okay.
The result is an 11-character alphanumeric sequence. Could this be the first key?
Fine, yeah. Let's see.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
We are bluntly informed that it is incorrect. We will need to try something else.
Could that
But
be a
wait,
URL?
let's take a step back for a moment. Where exactly did we find this website?
Yeah.
Well, it was discovered in Minecraft Live, an event where developers announced new features for the game. Before the main stream was a community pre-show, in which several content creators discussed what they make using Minecraft.
Oh, okay. What, Wifies were there, or what?
A few minutes into the segment, something caught my eye. Feeding in from the darkness was a yellow door, and through it walked Wifies.
Hello.
Wifies is the creator of a video called Searching for a World That Doesn't Exist,
Well,
the
we
most
know that.
popular Minecraft unfiction video to ever be released. Wifies begins to discuss his channel, explaining Minecraft web series and ARGs for the people who don't know.
Sometimes I make my own stories, and sometimes I look to the community for theirs. But if I had to say one thing, it would be that.
But suddenly, the video cuts.
Oh, okay.
A house doesn't just appear out of nowhere.
But we wouldn't build a house for no one to live in.
So you're saying it just popped into existence?
What I'm saying is that no one has ever lived in that house, and it doesn't make sense that we built it for no reason.
And it's not possible you're just forgetting who lived there.
Hey?
Do you remember anyone?
Well, no.
Exactly.
I'm gonna find out what's going on.
Wait, what? That's it?
Anyway, I think easily one of my favorite things about solving these mysteries is the fun of just solving puzzles. In fact, in this very segment, in everything you've seen so far, there are clues hidden for you, the viewer, to find. So if you're curious, and you want to figure out what's really happening, then the answer is out there, waiting for you. Good luck.
Right. MC
This
Live,
is how we
okay.
ended up at this website,
Okay.
a link in the biggest Minecraft event of the year. And we've already made a bit of progress, decoding the standard
Now I
galactic
understand.
alphabet
Okay.
into plain text. In fact, fans of other Minecraft ARGs will probably recognize this as a YouTube video ID.
Exactly.
Appending it to the URL takes us to an unlisted video entitled Wifies ARG Rules.
Wow, okay.
If-
Like, I actually am a bit, like, I know it's going to be bit weird to say it, but, like, I'm proud of myself, you know, from where we started. When we first started this with watching Wifies, like, we had no clue what an ARG was. And now it's like, oh, shit, like, here we are understanding the lingo and, like, understanding the ways of the, of the ARGs.
If you're seeing this, then good job. You've successfully managed to decipher the enchanting table language, but I promise the rest of the puzzles won't be as straightforward or easy.
Wifies then proceeds to tell us some basic information about what we're doing. We need to solve a series of 5 different puzzles, some of which have multiple parts. Whenever a new code is solved, we'll be taken to a page on the website that has the clue for the next key.
Okay.
The enchanting table code beneath will lead to a lore video, which is not required to progress.
Oh, okay.
This introduction video will be the only one containing a clue. Wifi says it about 3 minutes in.
But okay, here's puzzle 1. To unlock the first password, you'll need to answer 3 riddles that are now on screen. Riddle 1. What mob has the ability to turn blue sheep red? Riddle 2. What block can only be generated by wearing a piece of armor? And riddle 3. I break with the particles of nether souls and reduce the sight range of bony archered foes. What block am I?
If we combine the answer to all 3
Whoa.
questions and remove the spaces, then we'll have our first key.
Okay.
So let's think about riddle number 1, a mob that turns blue sheep red. The solution
I was
to
gonna
this
say, okay, this okay. We're gonna try to answer these ourselves. I was gonna say, like, blue sheep red. I don't think that it's like physically turning them red. I don't know like how deep he wants us to go here with these answers, but I just know that like you can turn a vindicator or whatever hell it's called, tell him into Johnny, and he starts killing animals. So like blue sheep then turns to red blood, red sheep. Yeah.
is actually an Easter egg. The evoker is able to swap the color of sheep.
Oh,
It's a reference
never
to the
mind.
priest
Well, I was
unit
kind
from
of
the Age
close.
of Empires, which could convert enemy units into friendly
Okay,
units.
so evoker.
Thus,
okay.
the first part of the key is
All
evoker.
right. All right.
The second riddle asks what block can only be created by wearing a specific armor enchantment.
Okay, yeah. Well, the boots. Fair enough. Yeah. I was
The
gonna
only
say that.
enchantment generates any blocks at
trust
all
me, I
was
was gonna say that.
Frostwalker. When equipped, a player can walk on water because temporary frosted ice blocks are created.
Yeah.
This is the second part of the solution. The final riddle is a block that breaks with particles of nether souls and reduces the sight range of bony archer foes.
That one is a bit. I break with the particles of nether souls and reduce the sight range of bony archer foes. So obviously he's talking about archers, skeletons. Why I say archers? He's talking about like soul sand, soul. I break with the particle of nether souls, like. I don't know. Is it something with?
I didn't know the answer to this before starting the video, but the solution is a skeleton skull. If you equip it as a helmet, it serves as a disguise that reduces the detection range of nearby skeletons.
Oh, wait. I break with the particles of nether souls, though. I don't understand that.
Starting the video, but the solution is a skeleton skull. If
I
you
didn't know
equip it
that.
as a helmet, it serves as a disguise that reduces the detection range of nearby skeletons.
That's something new. Okay.
Combining these 3 answers together produces our first key, Evoker Frosted Ice Skeleton Skull.
All right. Are we going to take the other side? Correct.
Entering it on the website, we get a message saying correct, and then we are taken to the second page. The enchanting table language leads to audio log 1.
Oh, fuck. Audio logs. Okay.
This is Epsilon, audio log 1. It is 4 weeks BK. I've officially decided to take on the case of House 31. It just hasn't been sitting right with me. Everyone has a different story. Some people say it's always been there, some say it just appeared recently, but most people think it looks familiar. I know it looks familiar.
Epsilon goes on to discuss that they're going to interview several people about the mysterious House 31. At the top of the page, the clue is quite simple, a short 1-second file called sound.wave. Let's take a listen. Our initial instinct should be to look at this in a spectrogram,
Of
a display
course.
of how frequencies in the audio change over time. But there's nothing obviously hidden here.
Nope.
So let's instead examine the waveform, which shows the shape of the vibrations that produce sound. There are two different channels, one for the left speaker and one for the right. Intriguingly, these two tracks are very different from one another. One of them is much louder than the other. There are also some linear, unnatural slopes that seem to be connected between the two channels. So perhaps what we need is some way to see the relationship between audio in the left speaker and audio
What
in
the
the right.
fuck?
One way we can do this is using a vector scope. The position of the x-axis indicates the vibrations on the right channel, and the y-axis is the left. If both the left and the right are doing the exact same thing, we get a diagonal line.
Right.
However, where the vector scope becomes interesting is when the channels are different.
Whoa.
If we have two pure tones that are related to one another, we can get some really cool stable patterns, known as
That's
Lissajous
cool.
curves. If the frequencies are adjusted slightly, the resonance breaks and the patterns move.
Yeah.
Sound.wave is much more complex than a pair of sine waves, but the vector scope can analyze it nonetheless.
Uh-huh.
Examining it, we can see that hidden within the relationship between the two channels is another code. But once again,
Wait, that is so cool though. Like, I'm just thinking like how I know probably that's not the answer, but how Wifies that must have created this, right? How he this breaks my brain because would he have to sit there in this vector scope thing and like, adjust the frequency towards so that it actually makes, these symbols? Like, I don't
between the
understand
two
how you
channels
make this.
is another code. But once again, this is not the password.
Of course.
It instead must connect to something else. It is too short to be a YouTube ID.
Oh, okay.
To figure out what it's for, we'll need to return to the rules video, which contains a hint.
Now, certain parts of this ARG will take you to websites like YouTube, Pastebin, and SoundCloud, Imgur, but nowhere.
The code does not work with Imgur or SoundCloud, but it is a Pastebin link,
Okay.
which is a website that allows people to, well, paste text. This directs us to a Google Doc.
Oh,
We see a large chunk of gibberish.
Jesus.
At the bottom are instructions stating that the clue is a single word that needs to be Caesar shifted by 24. So how are we supposed to decrypt this mess? Well, a hint is embedded in the title of the document. Wall 2, Shelf 1, Volume 10, page 268.
What?
This is one of those codes that's easy if you've seen it before, and
Yeah.
very difficult if you haven't. In 1941, the Argentinian author Jorge Luis Borges published a short story called The Library of Babel. It described a huge library containing every possible 410-page book. That's right, any combination of letters would exist somewhere in this library. Your deepest fears, the weather tomorrow, how
What?
important it is that you subscribe to RGN, it would all be here. The Library of Babel is from a fictional story, but what is really cool is that a person named Jonathan Basile has created a real version of it, in the form of a website. This is extremely interesting. If you enter a hex name to choose a floor, you can then select the
What?
wall, the shelf, the volume, and then scroll through the pages of the book.
What?
Now, obviously, the vast majority of books are gibberish. After all, it's very unlikely for a random sequence of characters to be meaningful. But since every possible book exists somewhere in the library, there are volumes with readable text, if you know where to look. And this is the purpose of the Google Doc. It contains instructions.
Okay. How the hell do you even think of that, though? Like, how do you sit there and see that text and you go, oh, yes, this guy from Argentina, he did this once, and now there's a site for it. How do you know that? I smell something fishy, guys. This, okay, I would have failed this one,
For
honestly.
how
I
to
would not have
access a
been
very
solving this.
specific volume in the Library of Babel.
What the fuck?
By entering the hex code, it takes us to the correct floor.
Okay.
Then we'll go to Wall 2, Shelf 1, Volume 10, page 268.
Okay. And it's a bunch
have
of
something.
Roman numerals.
It's not gibberish. Instead, it's a sequence of Roman numerals.
Yep.
We can convert this to Arabic numerals to see more clearly what we've got. There's a sequence of 73 distinct groups of 3, separated by commas. Every number is a positive integer, and none of them are higher than 119. What type of information is commonly stored in groups of 3, separated by commas? The answer is something very important to the game of Minecraft: coordinates.
Yep.
This could be a list of locations. We don't have a
That's so
specific
many
seed or anything,
locations.
so probably the best course of action is to just place a block at each of these coordinates to see what we can come up with. We could do this the tedious way, but it's much easier to just write a bunch of set block commands using Python.
Oh,
Then we
okay.
can put this list into an MC function file, which allows us to run the commands in order. So let's create a new superflat world and see what happens.
Oh, okay.
Looks kind of random. There's not really an obvious pattern from the bottom. It's all very jumbled. I'm not sure what we're supposed to... Wait a minute.
See, look at that.
That looks like something, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Let's move back and zoom in to get a better view. There's definitely a pattern that becomes visible from this angle. It kind of looks like the enchanting table language,
It does,
although not all the
right?
characters work. Most sections have portions of a square, sometimes with a dot in the middle.
No, this is actually
The
creative.
only exception is the final
What the
character,
fuck?
which is an angle bracket. Veterans of Retro Gaming Now will recognize this code.
Really?
In fact, it was used in Old Root, the very first ARG I ever covered. This
Oh.
is known as the pigpin cipher. It's another substitution cipher. We just have to look at the key and replace each letter. The result is one word: Gilbert. According to the
Gilbert.
instructions, we need to Caesar shift this by 24.
Okay.
This is pretty straightforward. We just need to shift each letter along the alphabet 24 times.
Okay.
Once we do this, it reveals code number 2.
Yo, like, what the fuck? You know, you think like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make an ARG, and then it's these fucking clues. How do you come up with this? This
Enchanting
is
table
insane.
language links to audio log 2. This
Okay.
includes an interview with Abraham. He discusses
Abraham.
hearing a creaking noise and seeing the house appear. He entered to find that the interior was normal, like every other home, but with no
Okay.
one living in it. It's implied that someone named Tareem could have made it using a spell from an unnamed library.
Okay.
The clue for code 3 is interesting. It's a sequence of hexadecimal characters with a few dashes. In fact, this is not the first time we've seen something like this. If you were paying close attention during the Minecraft live sequence, you may have noticed that Wifies had a book in his inventory
That
with a
is
very
true.
similar looking name. This one had an open dash, which seems to suggest that we should add our clue to it. Combining them produces a long sequence of characters. What is this? The answer is that it's a UUID. This is a number used to differentiate between different objects in the Minecraft game world, from mobs to items to conduits.
Oh.
One of the more well-known examples of UUIDs is one that represents a player. Each Minecraft Java account has its own ID. In fact, you can use it to look up the player on a website like NameMC.
Oh.
When we do this, we discover that the UUID does connect to a player, although the name is too complicated to read out loud.
What the
Though they've
hell?
had various skins in the past, they currently are the default skin. In the information section is something noteworthy, a link to a SoundCloud page named Gerard. He has 2 tracks, one called Blueprints and one called Instructions.
Yo,
Let's
what
start
the
with
fuck?
Blueprints.
How is this? Okay.
It's a harsh and unnatural
Okay.
sound.
Hold on, I just want to see also. Hold on. Yeah, I love how people are already in here solving this.
It's a
Okay.
harsh and unnatural sound. Once again, let's take a look at it in the spectrogram. This time, there is something to find. It appears to be a portion of a link. We've got another Old Root special, an Imager page. By appending it to the end of Imager.com, we can see an album called Blueprints.
What
Clearly,
the
this
hell?
shows how to build a certain redstone contraption.
Yeah.
But there are many things that are unclear, such as the meaning of the different wool blocks. To understand it, we will need to listen to the other SoundCloud track, entitled Instructions. Wifi says that we need to use these images to build something. He then proceeds to give a very detailed set of instructions.
Okay, using commands in a single player world, you will place the structure template, Ancient City Center, variant 3. Make sure to set the rotation to none. After you do this, you must build the contraption outlined in the blueprint images you have hopefully found from the other audio on this SoundCloud. There is a waterlogged skulk sensor. The first thing you will do is break it, but note its location. It is marked in the blueprint by a blue wool block.
Okay.
Place all redstone and other blocks outlined by the blueprint first, and then finish with the copper bulbs. Any black and white glass, black and white concrete, and blue and red concrete in the blueprints is to be ignored. If a wool is dark green, it means it replaces blocks of the ancient city's center structure.
Okay.
Only when you are finished building the blueprint, then you can place all 20 copper bulbs. Finally, place a redstone block where you see the purple wool in the blueprints, then replace the skulk sensor in the water and activate it once by stepping on it. This will activate the entire contraption and leave some of the copper bulbs on and some of the copper bulbs off.
Right.
Read the copper bulbs. Off is 0, on is 1. Read in order of increasing Z value.
Reading the bulbs in order of ascending Z value provide...
Yo, that is this. Okay. Honestly, I can see why you would call Wifies a good, like, one of the greatest ARG makers. What the fuck? I know this is not an ARG. Well, it is kind of an ARG, but it's also just a puzzle. What the hell? I'm actually so impressed. Like, just by the sheer, like, creativeness of these puzzles. This is so cool.
It's the third code.
Like, how do you...
Audio log 3 is another interview, this time with Tyreme and Abel. Tyreme thinks that the house appearing is just a practical joke. Abel says that it's Yenius' home, his brother, but Tyreme says that Abel is an only child. The interview is cut short as Tyreme becomes flustered. Unlike the others, this clue is not text. Instead, it's a single image called oceanwater.png. Let's take a closer look at it. It shows Wifi standing in the water looking at a white house with red windows. So what's in the ocean water? Well, if we look more closely, we'll see text at the bottom right that says, "Look inside." But there's nothing obvious to find inside the house. The text must be referencing something else. Where else could we possibly look inside? Well, what if it's referring to the file itself? There's a field known as Steganography, which is the practice of hiding information in plain sight, such that it's not obvious there's a code. There are countless ways you could do this, such as every 30th letter in a paragraph spelling out a word. Unsurprisingly, steganographic techniques can become quite complex, especially when dealing with something like a digital image. Could this be what's happening in oceanwater.png? Thankfully, there are tools out there to make the search easier. One such example is ZStag, which is specifically designed to find hidden data in image files. And when we run oceanwater through the program, it discovers something. To understand how the code is hidden, we need to think about how a computer image works. A PNG file is composed of a matrix of pixels. Each one of these has some combination of the primary colors. By changing the brightness of red, green, and blue, any other color can be produced. For example, one pixel might have 200 red, 143 green, and 89 blue. This information would define the color of that pixel. All you need are 3 numbers. Of course, since this is a computer, the numbers would be represented in binary. It's the same information, just presented in a different way. ZStag discovered that a code was hidden in the binary numbers representing each pixel. What it did was take the last digit from each color and pull it out. In our example, it would produce 0, 1, and 1. Then, ZStag repeats this process again and again, moving from left to right and top to bottom.
Well, so
The result
every
is a
single
huge binary
pixel.
string.
Oh
While
my
a lot of it is
god.
just zeros, we can see that the beginning does contain some sort of data.
What
It
the
turns out that
fuck?
this is ASCII, one way the computers store text. If we decode this binary string using the ASCII standard, the plain text is revealed. Associated with this image are 2 primes. Multiply them by the prime in the Minecraft Live segment to obtain a world seed. In a 1000 block radius around 00, plus or minus 1000 on X and Z axis, there are 6 different blocks that only generate once. Consider all infested blocks and potted plants to be non-unique. Find the unique blocks and multiply the coordinates of their Y value to get the next password.
What the fuck is this, dude? Oh my god. I could never have solved this. I'll tell you right now, I would have never solved this. Holy shit. Associated with this image are 2 primes. Multiply them by the prime in the Minecraft Live segment to obtain a world seed. Bitch, I don't even know what the fucking prime is. How am I supposed to do this? Yo, Retro Gaming,
The
take
two
it
prime
over.
numbers in the image are easy to find. It's the dimensions, 967 by 521. But we also need to find a prime in the Minecraft Live segment. If we search through it, we'll see a moment when Wifies opens a chest with the name 563. This is our third number. Let's multiply our 3 primes together to get a world seed, and join the world.
What the fuck?
As we'd expect, it looks regular.
Yeah.
What we are searching for are 6 different blocks in a 1,000 block radius that only generate once. Obviously, this is extremely difficult to do by hand. The best way to accomplish this is to write code that can search through the save file automatically. This produces our 6 blocks. One is a diamond block, found in a woodland mansion secret room. Another is a pink bed in a trial chamber. We have an oak gate fence in a village, and an orange bed in another trial chamber room. There's a sign beneath an igloo, and finally, an unlit campfire in an ancient city.
How are we supposed to find out?
Each block has its own set of coordinates. Multiplying all the Y values together reveals code number 4.
Yo, Retro Gaming, you're smart, man. Holy fuck.
Audio log 4 is an interview with Lang. He says that there are spells that can create a house, and spells that can cause people to forget. Epsilon says that Lang could have potentially cast these spells himself, perhaps to get back at Father. Then, Epsilon asks if Lang knows Yenius. Lang tells Epsilon to leave his house. We hear the sound of a book, and Lang says that his journal discussed a conversation with an unnamed brother, a conversation that he does not remember. Suddenly, someone enters and says they found a video about the house. It's time for the final code. The clue is a sequence of 9 boxes that appear to be static. From looking at it initially, it's not really clear what we're supposed to do with this. We need to find a way to get more information about what we're seeing. So how should we proceed?
Code of some sort?
Well, one thing that would be
maybe
helpful to know is if the static is random.
Yeah.
If it isn't, then perhaps it contains the data we need in order to find the next password. The best way to figure this out is to look at the website source. Let me explain how this works. When your browser is trying to load a web page, it sends a request to the server that has the website. Then, the server responds by sending your computer some information back. We can think of this like a letter in the mail. Inside the envelope is a blueprint that tells your computer what is on the web page. The document is in a format known as HTML, and it describes everything on the web page. It includes text, as well as any links to other assets that might be needed, like images. You might have seen this before with Inspect Element. This allows you to temporarily modify
my
the
fucking
HTML
lamp over
blueprint,
almost.
causing
Jesus.
the web page to look different in your browser. Therefore,
Like, I
to
am
understand
so,
if
like-
these static boxes
I am so lost, but I am so intrigued as well. I'm just amazed by the fact that you can actually create these puzzles. That's what I'm just amazed by. It's just
this contain a
so
code,
much
the
fucking
place
information.
to look is the web page's HTML. Opening it up, we see
Wow.
something unexpected.
There we
ASCII
go.
art of a person. In fact, we could have found this on the very first page if we'd looked. The meaning of this is not clear. Further down in the HTML, we discover the function that generates the static, appropriately called drawStatic. It turns out that the 9 boxes really are random. There's no code hidden within. But there may be a hint elsewhere, so let's continue looking through the source. It is actually possible to get the lore video link without using the translation table. There's even a comment saying that they're freebies. As we scroll through the HTML, we notice something interesting in the head section. This is part of the document that gives more information about the page, including things like the title and the style, but it also shows the author, which is a very intriguing set of characters. But unfortunately, this is not the solution. Something else is missing. On the Wifies Discord server, a user named AlenaFees was the first to document a critical discovery. Remember how I said that a web page is kind of like a letter from a server? The HTML is on the paper inside the envelope, which tells the browser what to render. But there's also information on the envelope itself, which we can't see unless we go looking for it. The envelope is called a response header. It contains information like the content type and the timestamp when the server responded. We can see it by running a command in Chrome, but as we look through it, there's something at the end that we don't typically see, an X secret with a 32-character string. This would turn out to be another critical clue.
What the hell?
To find the final piece, we need to think about what we've seen so far. As each code is discovered, it leads to another page. The URL would have the code number, followed by 20 characters to make it difficult to guess the correct address. But the URL for code 5 is different. Instead of a 20-character tag, there are only 19. This indicates that there's something special about it. Perhaps it's the information that we'll need. To say that solving the final clue was difficult would be quite an understatement. In fact, it was dramatically harder than any other password. Much of the exploration towards the fifth code took place on a dedicated Discord server. They created a document outlining their attempts, which I have linked below. The attempts were far and wide. Users inputted the X secret as a world seed and looked at the treasure chests within sunken ships. They attempted a Huffman binary cipher, an algorithm often used in data compression. They checked wide varieties of websites, such as Imager, YouTube, the Minecraft Wiki, Instagram, Discord, and so on. They attempted every Caesar shift on the author, decoding it using UTF-16BE, resulting in Chinese text that translates to the towering peaks and lush valleys. Another shift resulted in burning the flames, but this led nowhere. At some point, Wifies began to provide help in chat. He said that we would know the key when we saw it. The solution is not a random string. He also said that if an ARG did this, he would be a bit annoyed. The process is not beautiful or creative.
Yeah.
The puzzle requires doing something unintuitive. However, he did confirm that all the pieces were there. The only thing required was one more leap. XOR codes, QR codes, UUIDs, a random severed hand in the Tower of London somehow, Vernum ciphers, Square ciphers, Beaufort ciphers, Playfair ciphers, on and on they went.
What
but
the
nothing
fuck?
worked.
Yeah, this is insane.
Until
Holy
suddenly,
shit.
something did.
What?
On March 25th, 2026, a user named Dancing Rain tried a unique approach. Here's what they did. They had a hunch that we'd need a Vigenère cipher. This is a more complex version of a Caesar cipher. Instead of shifting each letter by the same amount, there's a keyword. The letters are then shifted by the number in the alphabet of the associated key. For example, let's say the plain text was like and subscribe, and the key was RGN.
Right.
We'd repeat the key beneath the plain text. Since R is the 17th letter in the alphabet starting from 0, we'd shift the first letter 17 spaces. G is the 6th and N is the 13th, so we'd shift each of those letters accordingly. Then we'd repeat this over and over until the ciphertext is completed. Decrypting is the same, but shifting in the opposite direction.
Okay.
Dancing Rain took the X secret and performed this Vigenère shift, with the website URL as the key. This resulted in another string. But this still wasn't right. That's when Dancing Rain switched from classical cryptography to modern cryptography. One of the most popular computer encryption schemes is called AES-256. It's extremely secure. It's actually the code that encrypted 2minecon.7z, if you've seen that video. To decrypt it, you need a key that's 256 bits long, far too large to find using brute force. However, we just so happen to have a clue that is 256 bits, the Vigenère X secret. Dancing Rain thought that this might be an AES-256 key. So where was the ciphertext? Well, there's one major clue that we have yet to use.
I'm so
the
intrigued.
author. What if this is the encoded text? Bimclert. Could this be it?
Bimclert?
The final key?
Oh, correct! And what now?
The result is a link to one final YouTube video called Erasure.
Okay, sorry. Say that again?
I said something isn't right about this summoning. Everyone insists that this is what we have to do, and that the king will help all of us, but we don't know that. I know my brother. I knew my brother, and he would never have wanted this. And look what they've done to him.
What is your fear here?
I just fear that the king is not what everyone is hoping for. I fear that the king doesn't have any desire to help any of us.
He was ahead of the time.
And I fear that I'm losing my brother.
It's completely fair to have some anxiety around this whole thing, but I'm afraid I'm not seeing a ton of the evidence to support any of this right now.
Look, I don't have any proof, okay? But you have to believe me when I say this. I know my brother. Abel may seem like he's fine, that he's just focusing on the preparations, but deep down he's scared. Deep down he knows something is wrong. He's just too scared to say anything about it. He can't tell us. He definitely can't tell Father. There's
I have no
nothing he
doubt
can do.
that you love and know your brother. I just worry that your feelings are
Look,
just...
you know what? You're right. It's all right. I just had an idea. I've thought of something. Thank you for your time, Epsilon. I really should.
But I'm
go.
so
Thank
scared
you.
of like the ice or something,
Okay,
you know, like the
see you.
fucking King in Yellow. Okay. Is this the house they were referencing? Burned it down. What? No, no, no. Oh, fuck you. Ah. No. The PTSD.
4 days later, the follow-up
Yep.
to Searching for a World That Doesn't Exist would be released. This is one of the most interesting Minecraft ARGs to exist, or to not exist, because it
Yeah.
all started with the biggest Minecraft event of the year, Minecraft Live. I
Yeah.
was so interested in this that I wanted to know more about how it was designed. So I called up my friend Wifies to see if he'd be willing to have a chat, and he agreed. This is an edited and abridged version of our discussion. You can check out the full thing on Modern Gaming later.
Oh, okay.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm pretty good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, I
for
wanna
agreeing to
hear
talk.
this. I wanna hear
I
this,
just had a
actually.
couple of questions about the ARG. I wanted to learn a little bit more about what was happening behind the curtain, or behind the yellow door, if you will. Okay, so my first question for you. This ARG began unexpectedly during the Minecraft Live community pre-show. How did you hope to utilize this unique trailhead opportunity? How did this influence your design philosophy when building the project?
Okay, so I was reached out to by Mojang and asked if I wanted to make a community showcase, but I didn't want to just talk about my own videos. If I was going to do this, I wanted to make it more interesting.
Yep.
And give the viewers who know me and who don't just like a nice, I guess, taste in their mouth with what I was presenting. This was around the time when Mr. Beast's Super Bowl ad had also dropped, which is like, in a sense, an ARG for $1 million. And I thought this was perfect, like it fits my brand, and I think it's fun, I think it's interesting. And obviously, like I wasn't 100% sure what the content of the ARG would be, but I settled on a storyline that was tangential to my main ongoing video duology, I guess, on my channel. With regards to the design philosophy though, I had initially kind of had this idea stewing that it would be really cool if Mojang let me like have the reward for the ARG be some sort of teaser about the upcoming Minecraft update, because that's something I didn't really like necessarily, was that the only quote-unquote reward for doing this ARG is like some love of the game thing,
Yeah.
which is why I also wanted to give like good lore payoffs to make it feel more worth it. I kind of asked, but Mojang was like, probably not. Like, higher ups probably would not have wanted to do it. Whatever. But when that was still the running idea, I thought, okay, if I was making an official Minecraft ARG, I would definitely want to do something where you have to open the game. So that was like the big like baseline idea for all the puzzles. Like, it had to be something where you had to open Minecraft, know something about Minecraft. All the puzzles weren't just going to be codes, they were going to be Minecraft related. Like, everything follows that sort of philosophy where it's like, you need Minecraft for it. You need to know the game, you need to play the game. And that kind of stuck even after the payoff was no longer like leaking some sort of feature about the update.
Okay, so you sort of mentioned that like things were changing as time went on because you thought, okay, maybe this is going to be to tease a new feature, maybe not. And one thing that I noticed is that the puzzle for code 5, the final code, was really difficult, like well beyond any of the other codes. You commented on the Discord that you felt it was not a particularly beautiful or creative solution. So how did you develop the final mystery, and why was it so difficult?
Yeah, so this is like a multi-part answer. You know Cryptos K5, right? Let me know video.
Yeah.
Long story short, it's this code that was given to the CIA. It has 4 parts. They solved the first 3 parts of the 4-part code in a day, and the 4th part has been unsolved for what, like 26 years. Like, ridiculous. And it's such a cool legacy and a puzzle. And initially I was toying around with the idea of doing something like that, where the final stage of my ARG would be fully unsolvable, just so it would be something that like gets talked about in a video, like the Wifies Puzzle 5. Like, it would have technically a solution, but it would be like a hash, and the key to decrypt it would be hidden in a random video's subtitles for 1 second from like 6 years ago that I posted. Like, something that's not solvable by any stretch of the imagination, and just so it would live longer and like leave some sort of legacy. That idea ended up getting scrapped because like I feel like you owe the people something when you give them this kind of mystery, and it's kind of toxic in a sense, or bad game design in my opinion, to make a purposefully unsolvable puzzle. Like, you want to reward them with something. However, the turnaround time was not particularly long. I think it was like 10 days.
Oh, wow.
So
Damn, okay.
we did not have a lot of time to prep the lore videos. We didn't even have the final payoff for code 5 done by the time like the ARG was ready to be submitted.
Oh, wow.
And this was kind of bad because like, I mean, code 5 at this point was still impossible. Like, I wanted the code 5, the final payoff, to be good, to be like something interesting and to be something related to the world that I'd already built. But because we didn't have enough time, puzzle 5 was purposefully engineered to be like a time saver. Like, while people were working on the ARG, I was still like recording the puzzle 5 while they were I was recording the payoff while they were solving it. It still is that AES idea, but this time the key is not locked in some video subtitles. It's locked behind a URL veneer, as everyone probably now knows.
Yep.
It's a kind of solution where it doesn't really have anything that would lead you to get to it.
Right. It doesn't really feel motivated, right? It's just sort of there.
Exactly. Like, you kind of have to take a leap of faith by shifting it with the URL, but nothing really implies that that's the correct direction to go in. And in that sense, I think it's a like bad puzzle design, but it was purposefully engineered to be, I guess, difficult because I needed the extra time to finish the payoff. But the time crunch plus remnants of what was gonna be an impossible puzzle all came together, and that's why code 5 is so different. Like, it has no Minecraft basis. It was made in maybe 5 minutes.
It's interesting to come into the mind of Wifies, like, because we've obviously seen his ARGs, but we haven't really like seen like, okay, what's behind the scenes of it. So it's quite interesting to actually listen to this.
Different question for you. The Minecraft ARG niche has grown dramatically in the last few years. It's been like really interesting for me to watch it flourish and kind of develop into its own unique art form. So a lot of people are going to watch things like Searching for a World That Doesn't Exist in the follow-up, and they're going to be inspired to make their own ARGs. So what would be your advice to people who want to do that, who want to make their own web series?
Listen to this,
I think an ARG works best when you have a story that you want to communicate, and I think that's the driving force of what makes the good ones so good. Characters that have depth. So you shouldn't just make something for the sake of like making something creepy. I think you should know the story that you want to communicate and then use the ARG kind of format as a vessel to tell that story. And I know that other people have different goals in the space. Like, your goal doesn't have to be getting covered by another YouTube channel, But I think if you want that to happen, you do need a good story, because all these YouTubers making ARG videos are looking for something, you know, interesting and entertaining, and a lot of that comes from the story. I think back in the day when it was maybe just me and you and 2 other people making ARG videos, you could get away with titles that were like a disturbing Minecraft alpha footage you've never seen, because the idea was so foreign that people saw these videos and it was like a really interesting, novel thing to see these shadowy figures in Minecraft where they really shouldn't exist. But now where it's like established that this is a genre and this is kind of what it looks like, you can't just put upside down crosses or mysterious shadowy figures. So the bar has been raised to the point where you have to kind of get more unique in your visuals and your ideas. So I think if you're making these kind of web series, number 1, you want to have a story that drives the rest of the events. But number 2, you just want to make it, to the best of your ability, unique. You want to make it something that hopefully not a lot of people have seen. Just tell a story in an unorthodox and still compelling way. If your goal is popularity, that is what will push the video the most.
Yeah, I feel like that is.
Yeah, I
like,
think your discussion.
I feel like that is. He puts it very well. From the ARGs that we watched, you can definitely tell. Like, we did like an ARG rating list, which is video you can check out if you're still watching. But like, I feel like that definitely is the case of like, there are like either it is the way you either it's the story of the character, obviously, but I would also say like it's how you build up the tension, you know? Like that's why I feel like for like Wifies video is so incredibly well made. Like the very first one, Searching for World Doesn't Exist, because not necessarily because of the character. Like sure the character is cool, right? Because he was sold like Dirtlord, for example, like he's smart. That's what got people to like him. But it's just also the way how you build tension in the video. Like for example, with the Wifies thing, there isn't that much going back and forth of like, you know, going to like sites and like, you know, but going back and forth. Like it's just like the raw Minecraft footage and that's it. And that's what makes it so great. Like other videos aren't built that way, so they're gonna go to websites. They're gonna go like obviously this one is obviously not an ARG really, but so like you go to websites, you go to Discord, whatever it is, right? So I feel like it depends on the story as well, but like, I feel like sure the characters, like the story itself is very important because like you can have videos that are shit. They're cool, but they're shit. So yeah.
About the importance of the story is an excellent insight, right? Because as we look at how the niche has evolved, you're right, at the beginning, it's like, okay, this sort of found footage concept is something that's foreign to most people. But what's interesting is nowadays, everybody knows that these ARGs, these web series are fake, but they don't care, right? Because the story is really what they want to know about. So I think it's a really excellent thing that you've identified. I think it's a great piece of advice is, you know, focus on the story.
Yeah, because I still think maybe, 5% of my audience probably fully believes these stories are real. But the majority of people, exactly, are now familiar with this. They know it's scripted, so what they're coming for is to be entertained. You still 100% want to create an environment where you can suspend disbelief. Like it should feel, at least the premise, should feel like it could be real. It should feel like it's, you know, possible. But also people are coming to be entertained. So what matters the most is the kind of story that you're telling.
You know, that is like what now that I think about it, right? It's like I think one that really speaks out as like a top ARG is the live streamed alpha Minecraft channel, the one, you know, where people really thought, like even I thought that it was real as well. Like there were 2 kids in the house. Like that is just such an amazing video because of the story. Like because the footage itself isn't like all that, like the visuals aren't all that, like, but it's like the story and like how you like get so involved with those characters, and it's just like, God, that is just a perfect video as well.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with me, and I'm looking forward to see what comes next.
Of course. Thank you very much for having me.
All right.
That was an abridged version of a full interview I did with Wifies. We got into the history of Minecraft ARGs, a deeper discussion about how we think about the medium, and a little teaser for what might be next on the Wifies channel. If you're interested, check out the link to the full interview. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great day.
Yeah, this is insane. I feel like this video kind of like it's nice to kind of like get a behind the scenes a little bit of like how ARGs works, and like I feel like throughout watching a bunch of ARGs, we've kind of like discovered like I never knew about cipher or ciphers, Caesar cipher. Well, see, I'm dumb. Okay, listen, don't. But just like I feel like throughout all watching all these ARGs, I've learned a lot of things about like how you can solve puzzles, and there are so many creative ways to do it. But this one really shook me. There are so many ways to do it, and I'm nowhere near as smart. But yeah, like because I've been thinking about creating an ARG of my own for a while now, and it's just like doing it. That's the hard part, because I don't think I could, make it into a, you have to like take 10 days to solve the puzzle. But I think as Wiffy says, like I think it's more story driven. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. This was like I just learned a lot in this video, and it was also fun to see kind of an Easter egg to the whole universe of this ARG. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.